The light, huh? The video? The video? Yeah. Hello. Good morning to everyone. Thank you very much. I'm really honored to be here. Thanks to Queen Sirikit Museum of Textile. It's a pleasure for me to be here to introduce a little bit of our Malay World Royal Family's outfit. Before that, I would like to have a little bit mood board about what I do. It's a little video. Can I have the light off first? Thank you. So that's all. Okay. Okay. I will. Okay. I will start with a little bit of the overview of the Malay royal family. In Malaysia, there is an Islamic country. It's a multiracial society. We have Chinese, Malay, and Indian, and of course the native and other race as well. And in Malaysia, we have 13 states, 3 federal territory. Okay, this is, I think that some mistake, 14 states instead. But out of 13 states, we have 9 states ruled by the Malay royal family, and it's elected monarchy. It rotates from one state, each state, the royal family come and rule, become a king for 5 years, and the next every 5 years that we have a different royal family from a different state. But that is amazing because first of all, for us, I myself have seen, I think probably about 6 or 7 times coronations experience of our royal family and all the ceremonies. That's amazing for Malaysians. I guess that is even for the people. And at the same time that not only me and also many other designers also have chance to design, because there's too many royal family and there's so many events every year. So we have 9 states, have 9 birthdays and what do you call all these ceremonies. So that is everyone's the chances of grooming for royal family is a little bit more chance you have. But I don't design for all the royal family, some of the royal family from different states. And of course, also is good, very, very good for the business. And for Brunei is an absolute monarchy. You have only 250,000 populations, and I work for the Queen of Brunei since 18 years. So, and also for the princesses, Sultan's children, and also Sultan's sisters. So it's an amazing experience. And today I think I would like to introduce a little bit of the silhouette of the Malay world, because in Islamic world, but I feel that I think sometimes they think in Islamic world of Malaysia and Brunei, they have the same silhouette of Middle East or abaya, but it's absolutely a total different silhouette. Wait, let me move. Right off it. So I'll bring you to the silhouette first, then from the silhouette we'll come back here. So, okay, these are the basic silhouettes widely used in Malaysia and Brunei. It's called kurung and kebaya. You can see from your left is a kurung. Kurung that is like a tunic is below the knee, traditional wear, and you have a long sarong. And for kebaya is a kind of a jacket that you have a hook or a zip in front, and also used in in Indonesia, and also, they have also a long skirt. But of course, these are the basic line of the silhouette. Today's designer, especially for us in Malaysia, what we do is most of the designer, we push our boundary that is, you see only a basic silhouette, which is widely used from ordinary people, not only Malay Muslim, but also the Chinese and the Indian use this traditional wear. But in many years back, they have special fabrics, but today, in this ancient time, we all use all kind of fabric and push the boundary and update the silhouette. So for me, as a designer, which is I studied in Paris, and I went back to, I want to give you a little bit basic what I do, how I begin to want to do the royal family's clothes. No, that is a dream. I wanted to be a designer, design for the royal family in my country and Brunei, because that time in the early 90s, when they say Brunei is the most richest sultan in the world, and everyone in Asia want to design for the Queen of Brunei. So I have this dream, then I went to Paris and studied. Obviously, when I leave Paris, then I have this thing that, I want to go to Paris, and I don't want to come back to Malaysia because they are not fashionable, you know. So as soon as I studied 4 years in Paris, and I feel that, you gain confidence, and you realize that something that you need to do for your own country, somehow you just become a little bit patriotic. You know, you learn the skill, like everyone learn other skills, and put it in you and move forward, and you decide what you want. Or if I decide, like if I want to be like one of my friends, stay in Paris, because that time is much easier for us. You're talking about 25 years ago to be work in the house of any designer, and some of my friends are actually assistant creative director of many nice fashion house. Or I want to become back to my country and be the Chanel or the YSL for my country, which is they need me more. So to also educate or share my experience with most of my we call it the time designer or tailor. Because in our culture in Malaysia, Brunei, we love fashion. of course, with the traditional fashion, but we constantly want to update the fashion. And at the same time, we always, you can see any normal, ordinary people, they are actually, they will buy fabrics, 4 meters, and they will go to their own tailor, they will tell them what they want and what they design, and also they're inspired by the royal family. Whenever the royal family wears some new kebaya or a new kurung, they want to look like them. So that's why for the royal family, they also well travel, and they also see lots of new fashion, especially because I'm a young designer, new designer, so that they travel, they know the knowledge of fashion, so they needed a designer like us to keep them updated, and they also want to try new fabrics, but how do we translate them to a traditional wear? So here I have to show you my responsible, that what I always get into trouble, but making all this new line and new embellishment to the traditional wear. Here are some silhouette. When I came back from Paris, I decided to rock the silhouettes. So, not only just rock the silhouette, but of course understand the boundary of the silhouette. And I work with the stylist as well. I want to give a young feel to it, because when you, I don't know whether you believe this or you agree with me, because I think in our ancestors, or I don't know, our old people who actually creates clothes for the environment that which country or which part of the world you are from, because it suits to the climate and to the style or to the shape and the body of you. Because only the Indians can wear the saris amazingly. And when you see the silhouette of kurung and kebaya, when I always see is the Malaysian, the Indonesian, and the Bruneian, they wear it. But before, they have also come with a scarf. A shoulder scarf, a meter and a half to 2.5 meters long. That how they carry it on the right shoulder or the left shoulder, whichever is comfortable, and they flip it up and hold it in 2 hands to keep them so feminine, and they can move around and do everything, eat at the same time. But then you put it in someone in Western world, they will be struggling even walking with the selendang or the sarong. So that is a little magical things that here. So I'm going to show how I updated some of the silhouette. These are one of the silhouette that 2006 I updated, that using very what you call a chiffon, printed chiffon, and also you can see border lace, that a really soft border lace that use 3 layers on the chest, and the little feel to young Muslim, to before she even want to wear a scarf, that I get her a long kind of selendang, we call it a scarf tie on the hair, makes her mom happy. So. And of course, the time that when you see the basic silhouette, that generally when I went back, that everyone said that we only use for traditional fabrics only 2 meters for the top and 2 meters for the bottom for the sarong. And that's what, whenever you go to any fabric shop or anywhere, they always say, oh, you want to make a kurung or kebaya, oh, you need only 4 meters. But any size of the girl, even though you're bigger or smaller, they also say 4 meters. This is a little bit crazy, because so I don't agree with that. So what happened, that to change it, look at this look, that I need easily about 6 meters. Then sometime I use even 12 meters. And in 1994, when I update the silhouette and to do my collection, and everyone think I'm really crazy, because how can you use 6 meters, 12 meters? It's going to be so expensive and use too much fabrics. But in that case, that I just say that I don't want to see the same silhouette, because I want to see a big skirt and a big shoulders, and I give the volume to the dresses. And here is like an evening gown. I always, when I look at it's a 2-piece modern kurung. We changed the term as well, kurung, modern kurung or fashion kurung. So you can see I use like a chiffon and organza. So this is, I have this this feeling that I just not only for Malay world to use the kurung, but also updated that. So I want to have an international feel that even Western world would love to wear this this look. And not only we are talking about the change the silhouette, but also the total look of the like the makeup, the hair, update the hair. So it gives a feel of international. And this is for the evening, and basically you can see like, yeah, especially this part in kurungs and the silhouette that we normally, you can see why they have lots of emphasized embellishment in this area and the sleeve. Too, because sometime nowadays you can see most of the Islamic world, they are actually Malay world, they are begin to wear scarf. So the concentration on the embellishment will be here, and sometime on the skirt, the kind of the volume and the skirt, the shape and design of the skirt, and then they cover the top, and now they have an accessories extended version. So, and this is the first one for one of the sultana that I designed. They cursed me out that I put her in feathers. Can you imagine? This outfit is a modern kurung, and she wear for her husband's banquet, 79 years old birthday. Yes, and she is in her 60s. Age, yeah. The sultana wear this outfit. It's actually a chiffon. You can see all these are glass bead. Glass bead means I call it a glass outfit because I have a sequin, clear sequin, and just covered so full on this kurung, and I have a feather trimming, and she loved it. And that night after the banquet, I've been cursed out by all the princesses, and I told the sultana that, you know, is that wrong that I did this? She said, no, next year we'll do it even better and more. So that I loved it, that's what I did this. So this is a very important, you see, it's a very important celebration because the Sultan is 80 years old, and Sultana is in her 60s, and this is Ujung Sarat. It's actually a Malaysian, it's a Bruneian songket. It's kind of a very beautiful bouquet. But the person who wears it is a Sultana from Malaysia, one of the Sultana. And she asked me, I remember she said to me, next year we'll make it more. So for her throne room, I made this outfit, and it's, can you imagine? So I added a little bit higher, and I tell you the trick, and it looks not as much, it's not like a lot like just now. When she walked into the throne room, you know, it's beautiful when the wind blows, and it's nice. As soon as you sit on the throne, and you know when you sit on the throne that you have what do you call the small stool that you put your leg up. When you put your leg up, the whole feathers will go poof. And after that, the same princess came, I gonna kill you. Pretended like as if nothing happened. So, you know, that's actually, it's another word. All the princesses' children, the princess children said that they will call me, Bernard, I think I love it. I want it next time for myself. You can see the younger generations are ready. You see, and also Sultana, she is in her 60s. She also ready. To me, when designing for a royal family, the most important thing that for me is to understand them. And they are also like us because they also have princesses who are eccentric, princesses who are a little bit agier, and you have princesses who likes, or the queen who like, the royal family who like a classic and minimalist. So I have to understand and design according to what the royal families need, and update them constantly, and also not only about the silhouette but also the fabrics. Because they also, many of the time, when they travel, so they just tell me they travel where and where, but they leave it to me because they know that now, of course, they know I keep it within the boundary, but I will make them really looks good, but not now, but after 3 years, everybody wants to look like them. So I'm a very forward thinker, and I never allowed my team to have think in the box. They always have to think out of the box and not on the comfort zone. So I have 80 staff who work for the royal family in one roof from the embellishment. Of course, we also have a small workshop in India to do the embroidery. And okay, I have more. And this is the Queen of Brunei. This is a kabaya. It's actually a modern kabaya. I didn't have a full pictures. And the alarm, my time. A modern kabaya, because kabaya normally the silhouette that you think that you to have to open it at the front, but then it's today's time, and I just make it easier. And the royal family today, we know that they not only want to look nice, but the same or fashionable, but at the same time they also want to be very comfortable, whatever fabrics I use. And this Sultana also wearing a kabaya, but the kabaya is normally, I said just now that I use it on only below the knee, but this is extended all the way to her ankle. It looks like a gown, and it's a lace base, but the embroideries, we use the cut work, we call it karawang, modern machine to sew. And you also, like the karawang, you have another way of using it, is like using what you call hand machines. Yeah. And that's all what I want to say. Of course, my strength is cut, and I constantly like to update the cut for the silhouettes, and also I enjoy work with fabrics, and obviously I use a lot of time when come to coronation. Most of the royal families, they like to use the traditional fabrics like the tenun or songkets, but my job is like the princess say, we put glue, we paint on it, we airbrush, we applique with other fabrics and makes the fabrics really different. So because when all the sultana get into the throne room, they will look at each other, they all are wearing a traditional fabric, but they don't look like the traditional fabric. So that's what I want to create. So oftenly we achieve that. And print, come to print as well, or the motif when come, I worked with lots of, as I said, with the royals weavers. So I constantly tell them, currently what are we working in, because when I worked in my fashion week for modern dresses, we always do research, and that research had to reflect me, and then the print have to reflect also current time. So I work with them and push them not using the same basic what they have done before, that we enlarge things or we add things as long as within the boundary, within the Muslim motif, and update the traditional fabrics. The reason why, because I'm really inspired when I was studying 25 years ago in Europe. Everything that you go to, or even though the past 3 days, when you see everyone's bring you by looking at the fabrics, it brings you back to the time. And when you go to the museum, they literally looking at the painting, they brings you back to the time and tell you that time, that period, you see. Even in my house, I begin to start to paint my kids or whatever, the dog or the thing, when I'm looking at the painting, and I will remember 17 years ago as if yesterday. So today, the reason why all the modern fabrics that I want to do, or the embellishment, is about the interpretation today, so that in 100 years we remember that was this time. So yeah, and for that, I make it really quickly. The last in June, I have create the contemporary Malay wedding exhibition. The clothes I loaned from Her Majesty Queen of Brunei, the Princess clothes, all to inspire the community in Pekan, in one of the state in Malaysia. Is actually an old palace converted to a museum. I had a small contemporary Malay exhibition to inspire the young to show them that even the royal family wearing traditional wear is very contemporary and updated. So that to inspire them that it's not, they think that even royal family always are very traditional. So this is the end of my paper, and you can ask me any question later if you want. The video, please. Just 1 minute. Thank you. They all are traditional fabrics, yeah?
Del and Melissa, do we have time for questions? Wonderful. In which case, can all of the speakers please join me over here on the sofa? And while they do that, I would like to explain that we are honoured by the presence in our audience this morning of Monsieur Henri Pagot-Clarac from Balmain. We're absolutely delighted to see you and hope you enjoyed looking at the wonderful photographs of Balmain's work for Her Majesty Queen Sirikit. No, we need some more chairs, so let's sit down to hear our speakers.
I think perhaps we need like 2 extra chairs. Here or there? Yeah. Okay. Oh no, okay. Perhaps
Yes.
one more.
And just to get the ball rolling, my first question is for Bernard.
Yes.
And it's to ask how the community within Malaysia, how the press receive your collections. How, are they thoughtful about what you are trying to achieve with making a very contemporary feel to traditional dress within your very special, defined communities?
And also what I learned in Europe when I was studying, when I went for a show, and that time in the early 90s, I saw the front row at times are always the press, and they have a special platform for the press. The front row are the press. So when I came back to Malaysia, normally what we do, we always have one little corner there and put the press there, the cheapest table or some extra table, then all the VVIP here. So what happened? So I decided to come and do my first fashion show. All the front row are only for the press, and I have a beautiful stage built behind just for all the TV and the cameraman to have a good view of the collection. So then I had 6-month coverage non-stop. That really put me in Malaysia. Since then, they're always, I mean, to be somewhere is easy, but to maintain it, that is constant, that is the one, is hard. Then when in 2006, that I decided to do a collection permanent every year for traditional wear, and that time I invited all the press and called it a Petang Raya. That means before 2 months of the Muslim festival, I have this collection of traditional Malay wear, and it's updated not only for my community, but it's also for all races in Malaysia. And all the headline was, we waited for this. We wanted this because they needed because you see, today I'm doing the collection, it's not just for my client, it's also for the community to go to their tailors and have some sort of idea and brave and push the boundary. So it was amazing.
Are there any questions from the floor? I can see a gentleman just here.
Hello there. My question is quite long, actually. I know that dresses not only reflect the wearer's identities, confidence, and social status, but they also embody meanings, both in design but I'm wondering, especially for Bernard and Kun, the Thai person, I can't remember. Yeah, Kun Chandran, yes. When you design dresses for the queens, especially in a political event, what is your approach when you design dresses for their majesties? For both Bernard and Kun.
I didn't understand the question, sorry.
Well, when you design dresses for Her Royal Highness when she goes to an event, especially in the event that have lots of political meanings, how you approach in the design?
Oh, well, I always design clothes for Her Majesty and use the Thai silk all the time. So basically, I will go by the color. You mean political? Official visit or state visit. I would go by the color. Yeah.
Basically, I think for me, especially. I believe Her Majesty's Sultanas, they are very confident women. Rather they advise me what they don't like and what they want, so I worked on from there. So otherwise, I will do something, because I love to get some attention, so... So yeah, but obviously I think so far that they will actually, the royal family, they always tell me, Bernard, this is the outfit and I want it to be self-color because I'm going to England for Edward's wedding, so I prefer much more self-colors because I'm in Europe. So I worked on the embroidery and the lace or the traditional fabrics in pink. I want the embroidery, every embellishment to be self-colors, so it makes me a little bit more subtle. Where else, because you see, the design, I think, is about where you are. Because if we are in the society where we love colors and prints, and when we all together, we look less still.
And there's a question in the front row.
In Islamic thought, are there any taboos of things that you cannot use in your designs? In ceramics, you pretty much use a lot of calligraphy, but I don't see that in fashion. Or are things that you just cannot use in your designs?
The international brands now doing lots of scarf. Even they, when I used to shop for the royal family, all the scarf, and they design very small collection with animals and lots of collection without animals just for the Islamic. So this fashion is fashion, but at the same time is big business. So when I design for the Islamic, I will never use all these, what you call animals and the kind of print is fine, but I think the animal sign that, you know, a face of a tiger or a bird or something like that. So of course we always don't do that because you don't want to change the way the customer, I guess.
I think I have a question. I think I have a question for Mr. Peck. Really, could you tell us about the formula, the protocol? You know, the white gloves, the white fur, the hats, and all that. I think that's quite interesting.
Well, you say protocol. I think really it's the completion of an outfit. The white gloves can vary. They weren't always white. They were very often pastel-coloured to match the outfits. But white is very easily seen from afar when you're in a large crowd. Hats, I suppose the Queen is one of the few women who regularly wears a hat nowadays, but when she was young, every woman wore a hat. Obviously, they cover the head. They have to use hat pins to stay on in a high wind, and they take a certain amount of control in all weathers. But they do have a function, again, in making the Queen stand out in a crowd. So that's part of the reason for a hat. And she is a small woman, so they give her stature as well. Large hats were rather taboo from about 1920 onwards. There was a very famous occasion in 1935 for the Silver Jubilee, I think it was, of George V, when Princess Marina, the wife of the fourth son of King George VI, wore an enormous Molyneux designed hat. And of course it got blown about in the wind, so she was forever having to hold on to it. So there are practical reasons for these things. But the Queen does often wear now different coloured gloves, black gloves to go with black shoes. She has been very frugal, reusing items, as Joanna would be able to tell you, hats that appear 30 years later. So there are obvious economies to be made as well. She doesn't wish to be seen to be extravagant. And she usually uses items of clothing very many times.
It's just to add to what Michael is saying. It's very interesting having made an exhibition of the Queen's hats a sort of short while ago, and being in the palace making a selection of those hats, is that there was a big thought that wearing a hat gives a formality to any situation. And the Queen is very aware that when she attends a big event or will travel to a town, many people will sort of stop their normal life and they will go and they will line the streets and they will wave to her as the car passes. And in wearing a hat, it's an acknowledgement that the Queen can make very easily of her sort of honouring their presence there too. It gives a kind of gravitas to that situation. There is a kind of respect from the Queen shown back to the community for their presence on that occasion. She isn't going to be able to wear the tiara and the jewellery, but she does wear very, very splendid hats to offset an outfit.
I mean, as you saw some of the pictures from Her Majesty Queen Sirikit's first state visit, that sort of protocol was quite foreign to us in this part of the world. And I'm wondering who sort of set those rules and regulations, because Her Majesty was seen wearing only white gloves and white fox fur, unless, of course, she was in traditional Thai dresses.
I think it was actually fashion then, because even my mother in the 50s always went out with gloves on, white in the summer and different colours in the winter, and a hat. Women just wore those. They were part of fashion. And of course, over the decades, that's been eroded. And in a sense, to follow on from what you were saying, a hat is now an informal sense. It's a crown, isn't it?
Yes.
A civil crown. Sorry, is that better? I was saying a hat is now a form of civil crown.
I'm asking all these questions, and I don't know if it's possible. Has Helen Mirren's portrayal of the Queen very accurate, or has you anything to do with the sort of the wardrobe of that film?
I don't honestly know whether it's very accurate or not. Parts of it may be.
She won an Oscar for that.
She won an Oscar for acting, but not particularly for a reenactment of what the Queen is really like. Very few people know that.
In the fashion sense, though, I mean...
Well, clothes-wise, yes. I suppose following...
Again, as a curator, to add to Michael's comment, we recently did an exhibition which was very successful, a very interesting sort of look at a royal wardrobe, which was looking at the Queen's formal wardrobe, as it were, is occupational dress. It's an occupational dress for the most extraordinary job in the world, as Queen Sirikit will have in this country. And from the royal wardrobe, we selected outfits that represented the Queen's relationship with Parliament, the Queen's relationship with the church, or with education, or with the arts. And at the end of making a selection of outfits, the Queen was most concerned that we should have a riding jacket, a headscarf, and her riding boots, just to give that other side of her life, which is very important to her too. A question in the front row, please.
In the front row, there's a lady in the front row, a very beautiful lady in blue.
In anticipation, are you looking ahead to the wardrobe of the Duchess Catherine at this point, archiving, etc.?
With all the young women in the royal family, clothes being such a personal thing, there is always a kind of sort of moment where they sit and review their own collections. We wouldn't presume to ask for items so immediately. Even with the Queen, our most recent things perhaps were worn 10 years ago, except in the most extraordinary situations where there has been a dress for a jubilee or a dress for a special occasion, and she will make a special point of ensuring that that goes on display immediately. However, there is a wonderful continuity that now goes back about 300 years of gradually the royal clothes, these very, very personal relics that are left behind, is moving into a royal collection of things which can be then enjoyed by everybody. There's another question on the front row, please. Yep.
I was wondering about the fitting process. And does the sovereign at that time make suggestions for alterations or changes in the design? And how many fittings does it usually take to get to the final?
To be honest, for me, I think we have now, because as I said, my best asset is I go through the process of measurement and the same time as well the cutting process is about talking about our firm, and I want my sewing team and also the one who specially sew for the Queen or the royal family and also the person who do the measurement and cut. We are there at the first stage, and after that we will produce. We know that if she is going to be our long-term client, we have a dummy made in Stockman for her size, because I have to fly to Brunei once a month, and also most of the clients that even they are in what do you call, in Kuala Lumpur, they are in Malaysia, they have different states, Sultana, so we have their dummy and we do the perfect what do you call fitting in our dummy, and then we'll have one fitting, and normally it's a very minor adjustment. So, yeah, so that's nothing major. Sometimes due to the fabrics and also the embellishment, it may have the maximum 2 times for now.
I think we have time only for one more very quick question before we take a 15-minute break.
There's a lady on the in front of the yellow screen.
Is it Julia? Julia.
So, I'm a good friend I used to be a good friend of Pierre Balmain, and the first time I met him, it was sometime in the 59, when my father had been appointed French ambassador in Bangkok, and he remained ambassador for 9 years. And then, not long time after we arrived in June 59, we heard about the prospect, the planning of a trip around the world, and Their Majesty going to France. And then it started to be, everybody excited about this kind of project. And then Pierre Balmain arrived to go to the palace, to Chitada Palace, to meet Their Majesties and so, and talk about dresses and so. And I used to go with him. I went to Chitada Palace many times. And also, then it was the planning of, a trip to Europe, and also Pierre Balmain asked Alexandre, the French hairdresser, to come, and he came with many staff, and it was very exciting to see some demonstration of how to prepare some hairdo for afternoon or tea party or cocktail or dinner and gala. So it was very exciting. And also he brought along Jean Destré, who was a very well-known, what you call a makeup artist and something like that. And then also I used to go and join them and watch their demonstration. But of course, that was a kind of official things. But about my relation with Pierre was sometimes very friendly, talking a lot. And then he said to me, "Oh, I'm worrying about the next collection because Her Majesty would like me to use the made me material, and I'm very scared because it is very difficult to use to make dresses, and I'm not so sure I will be able to do some very nice dresses with this kind of material." Well, I said, you can do some magic and it will be all right. And then after that, of course, we are talking about the perfume made by Mr. Balmain. And I told him one day that we should give me some sample of your perfume to be sold at the French stall of the Thai Red Cross Diplomatic Bazaar. And he said to me, "Oh, well, I don't have any time to do that, but if you want some, you have to come to Paris to pick them up." So I went to Paris then at my holiday time to pick up some of the perfume to be sold at the Red Cross Bazaar. And after that, he sent a letter to my father saying that he will send a big parcel containing many articles. And also, he said, "I made for Her Majesty a box containing some cards, I'm not so sure, or some Bristol, I don't know what it is. It was made of white satin with the emblem of Her Majesty, and that has been forwarded to, I think, to Kun Pumpen Tewi. I'm not so sure He was at the time Chamberlain of Her Majesty or something. Anyway, so we have been, in touch for so many years. I used to go to see him at in Paris at the house of Balmain, and later on I cut a clip in the newspaper it was in the Herald Tribune, explaining the visit of Their Majesty to the house of Balmain, Rue François Ier in Paris. But I was not attending, but my father was there, I'm sure. And this article mentioned that at the time of a beautiful fashion show with about 30 beautiful ladies and models, that was only one man in the assistance. It was Achille Clarac, the French ambassador. But of course, this article, if you want to know about this visit to Paris of Their Majesty, I have the copy of the article in my pocket. And then if you want to hear some of the explanation, we can do that at lunchtime. So, thank you.
But Melissa, I have a last question. In fact, I don't know if it's quite appropriate to ask, but Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth has been seen carrying the same shape of bag for the past decades. I'm wondering what's in the bag. I mean, as a Vogue editor, I need to ask that.
It's a mystery.
Voila.
Thank you. And I think on that note, thank you so much to our panel chairs and also our panelists. This has been a wonderful final formal academic session. We're running a little late, so please take just a very quick 10-minute break and come right back in, because we have a very special presentation for you before lunch of dressing a Khon performer and then our very own private Khon performance. Thank you. Yes, you can bring your food and your drinks in, so go on, get some coffee, get some snacks, and come on right back in. Lunch will be late, so make sure you eat.
Without further ado, we'll begin the presentation. พระบาทสมเด็จพระจอมเกล้าเจ้าอยู่หัวนะครับรัชกาลที่4ทรงพระราชนิพนธ์ถึงธรรมเนียมการลำดับยศของสยามไว้ว่าธรรมเนียมการลำดับยศของสยามมีสังเกตอยู่3อย่างครับคือ1ด้วยหมวกเสื้อและเครื่องนุ่งห่ม2ก็คือด้วยคำนำหน้าชื่ออย่างหนึ่งก็คือบรรดาศักดิ์นะครับแล้วก็ด้วยศักดินาคือจำนวนที่ดินหรือไร่นาที่ต้องหวงแหนนะครับแล้วก็ครับก็หนึ่งในเครื่องนุ่งห่มที่สำคัญของขุนนางสยามที่ใช้ในการลำดับยศก็คือผ้านุ่งนะครับผ้านุ่งของขุนนางมีชื่อเรียกเฉพาะว่าผ้าสมปักนะครับความหมายของคำว่าสมปักเป็นคำในภาษาเขมรนะครับออกเสียงว่าสมปดแปลว่าผ้านุ่งเขมรนี่ใช้เรียกผ้านุ่งทุกชนิดทั้งของบุรุษและสตรีนะครับแต่พอมาอยู่ในภาษาไทยซึ่งใช้ในราชสำนักนี้ความหมายถูกจำกัดลงให้อยู่ในผ้านุ่งชนิดหนึ่งของขุนนางเท่านั้นนะครับบางครั้งก็เรียกว่าถมปักหรือสองปัก King Mongkut or King Rama I of Bangkok period has made it clear in his written account that the official ranks in Thailand could be identified by hats, shirts, and wardrobes, or by the title and the sakdina, which refer to the status in terms of amount of land that the king assigns, counted by rai, which is a unit of land in Thai, literally refer to 1,600 square meters. And the term sompak is adopted from a Cambodian word
to use use in the court to refer to the lower wrapper of the officials.
ครับลักษณะของผ้าสมปักนะครับผ้าสมปักเป็นผ้านุ่งที่มีขนาดใหญ่พิเศษต่างไปจากผ้านุ่งในปกติอื่นๆนะครับซึ่งเกิดจากการทอผ้าหน้าแคบนะครับกว่าผ้านุ่งทั่วไปแล้วก็นำมาเย็บเพลาะริมให้ติดกัน2 ผืนซึ่งในการทอนั้นก็ได้ทอเป็น2 ผืนต่อกันนะครับแล้วถึงจะนำมาตัดแล้วก็เย็บเพลาะตรงริมให้เป็นผืนใหญ่
Sompak is a special term that refer only to the lower wrapper that use 2 pieces of fabric sewn together with seams in the middle to create a wider fabric.
ขอโทษนะครับขอเลื่อนไปที่ตารางเมื่อกี้นะครับประเภทครับประเภทของผ้าสมปักนี่นะครับผ้าสมปักที่ใช้ในราชสำนักก็มีอยู่2 ชนิดที่แบ่งตามวัสดุการผลิตนะครับก็คือผ้าสมปักลายและผ้าสมปักไหมผ้าสมปักลายก็คือผ้าที่เป็นผ้าฝ้ายเนื้อละเอียดที่เขียนด้วยมือหรือพิมพ์ด้วยบล็อกไม้หรือโลหะมาจากอินเดียครับ
In Thai court, the Sompak textile has 2 categories. The first one is called Sompak Lai, which is the painted fabric that's kind of complement the previous lecture, and the other one is the silk fabric.
ครับส่วนสมปักไหมมีอยู่2 ชนิดนะครับก็คือเป็นผ้าสมปักยกกับสมปักปูม
For the silk, is divided into 2 subcategories. One is the brocade, and the other one is the Thai resist dye or the ikat.
อันนี้คือผ้าสมปักลายซึ่งเป็นผ้าฝ้ายที่มาจากอินเดีย
This is Sompak Lai or the painted one from India.
ครับอันนี้คือผ้าสมปักยก
This is a brocade.
ผ้าสมปักทั้งสมปักลายและสมปักยกนะครับเป็นผ้าที่ขุนนางใช้นุ่งในโอกาสพิเศษอย่างเช่นงานพระราชพิธีต่างๆแล้วก็ถ้าเป็นในขนาดผ้านุ่งปกติเนี่ยจะนุ่งในหมู่พระบรมวงศานุวงศ์ในทั้งฝ่ายหน้าได้แก่เหล่าบุรุษและก็สตรีคือฝ่ายในรวมทั้งองค์พระมหากษัตริย์ด้วยครับ
This sompak is repeatedly used by the court officials and the royalties for special occasions, especially during the royal ceremonies and also at the audience of the king.
ส่วนผ้าอีกสมปักไหมอีกชนิดหนึ่งคือผ้าสมปักปูมก็คือผ้าที่เรียกในปัจจุบันว่ามัดหมี่ครับ
The other type is called sompak poom, which is so-called the matmi or the Thai resist dye in Thai.
ผ้าสมปักปูมราชสำนักใช้เป็นผ้ายศหรือผ้านุ่งของขุนนางในทำนองเครื่องแบบผู้ที่จะนุ่งได้ต้องได้รับพระบรมราชานุญาตหรือพระมหากษัตริย์พระราชทานให้นุ่งอันได้แก่เหล่าขุนนางทุกลำดับชั้นยศครับใช้นุ่งตามยศศักดิ์ในการเข้าเฝ้าละอองธุลีพระบาทตามปกติ
The sompak poom therefore is something like an official attire worn by the officials during the ceremonies and the daily audience at the court.
สำหรับการเทคนิคการผลิตผ้าทั้ง3ชนิดนี้ถ้าไม่ได้เพลาะกลาง2 ผืนติดกันนี้ก็จะเรียกว่าเป็นผ้านุ่งธรรมดาก็คืออย่างชิ้นแรกคือผ้าลายชิ้นที่2คือผ้ายกชิ้นที่3คือผ้าปูมแล้วก็2ชิ้นแรกนั้นจะเรียกว่าพระภูษาในกรณีที่เป็นผ้าทรงของพระบรมวงศานุวงศ์ส่วนผ้าปูมสุดท้ายนั้นใช้เฉพาะขุนนาง
The textile without the seam in the middle, I mean the narrow one, is not called sompak, but it's generally called panung. The first 2 types, the painted one and the brocade, is limitedly used by the royalties, and the silk ikat is used by the court officials.
ต่อไปก็คือความหมายของคำว่าปูมนะครับคำว่าปูมในภาษาเขมรเนี่ยเขียนว่าภูมิแต่ออกเสียงว่าปูมแปลว่าระดับชั้นต่างๆเพราะฉะนั้นผ้าสมปักเมื่อไทย เมื่อสยามตั้งแต่สมัยอยุธยารับเอามาจากเขมรเนี่ยก็คงจะหมายถึงผ้าที่ใช้นุ่งเพื่อแบ่งยศแบ่งระดับของขุนนางนะครับ
The term poom is written as poom in Cambodian but pronounced as poom. Okay. And when the term poom has many connotation in Cambodian language. One of them refer to the social strata. And when Siamese court adopted the court rituals and culture from Cambodia, the term sompak, the term sompak poom is probably come together with that during that period of time.
ครับสำหรับผ้าสมปักที่ใช้ผ้าสมปักปูเมื่อรับจากเขมรแล้วมาใช้ในราชสำนักสยามนี่นะครับก็ปรากฏความในสมัยอยุธยาว่ามีการทำจำหน่ายข้างนอกด้วยนอกจากการที่พระเจ้าอยู่หัวพระราชทานสำหรับขุนนางที่ทำผ้าหายหรือไม่ทันก็ต้องไปซื้อ
For sompak poom in Ayutthaya, which is an official attire for the courtiers, there is a record from Ayutthaya period that when the people lost their fabric, they could go to the market and buy a new one to replace it. But it's a must to wear this at the audience of the king.
ครับพอมาถึงรัตนโกสินทร์นี่จากพระราชหัตถเลขาในพระบาทสมเด็จพระจุลจอมเกล้าเจ้าอยู่หัวที่กล่าวถึงผ้านุ่งของขุนนางมีท่านบอกว่าด้วยธรรมเนียมข้าราชการนุ่งสมปักปูมสมปักเชิงสมปักล่องจวนสมปักริ้วเข้าเฝ้านั่นก็เป็นธรรมเนียมโบราณทำให้เราทราบว่าผ้าสมปักมีอยู่4ชนิด
King Chulalongkorn, King Rama V has referred to different types of sompak, so-called sompak poom, sompak cheng, sompak longchuan, and sompak riu. And he said that this is an ancient tradition of the Siamese court.
ครับโดยมีสมปักริ้วเป็นชนิดสามัญที่สุดและสมปักปูมเป็นชนิดสูงสุด
Sompak riu or the stripped pattern is the lowest level of this type of textile.
ลักษณะของผ้าสมปักริ้วก็คือผ้าที่สมปักริ้วมีลักษณะคือการเป็นผ้าที่ทำขึ้นมาอย่างง่ายๆโดยการขึงเส้นยืนเป็นลายริ้วสลับสีต่างๆแล้วก็ทอออกมาเป็นผืนผ้า
The stripe is the most simple one achieved by stretching the warp thread, a different color of warp thread to the loom.
ครับลำดับชั้นต่อมาก็คือสมปักล่องจวนล่องจวนสันนิษฐานว่ามาจากคำในภาษาเขมรเช่นเดียวกันหมายถึงผ้าที่มีริ้วในแนวตั้งหรือแนวดิ่ง
The higher level is called sompak longchuan, and the term longchuan is probably another Cambodian term that refer to the striped pattern also.
ลำดับชั้นที่3นะครับอันนี้ก็ยังเป็นล่องจวนอยู่ลำดับชั้นที่3เรียกว่าสมปักเชิงหรือสมปักกรวยเชิงความสำคัญของผ้าลักษณะสำคัญของผ้าสมปักชั้นนี้คือชั้นที่3นี้นะครับก็คือที่ชายผ้าทั้งสองข้างมีกระบวนลายเรียกว่ากระบวนลายกรวยเชิงคือประกอบด้วยแม่ลายลูกขนาบและกรวยเชิงขึ้นมาครับ
The upper level of the textile is sompak groi cheng, and in this type there will be row of patterns that border both ends of the fabric.
ครับสมปักกรวยเชิงอาจจะเริ่มต้นจากผ้าผืนเรียบที่มีเฉพาะลายกรวยไม่มีลวดลายแล้วก็จะถัดมาก็คือลายริ้วแล้วก็เป็นลายดอกขนาดต่างๆ
Sompak groi cheng has a subcategory starting from the plain central field with the ended border to a more complicated pattern in the central field.
ครับสมปักชั้นสูงสุดนะครับก็คือสมปักปูมเป็นผ้าที่มีองค์ประกอบสมบูรณ์นะครับลายตรงท้องผ้าคือตรงกลางนี่ก็เริ่มต้นจากไม่มีลวดลายแล้วก็จะเป็นลายริ้วแล้วก็จะเป็นลายดอกขนาดต่างๆเหมือนกันนะครับแล้วก็สูงสุด ก็คือลายท้องนาคสำหรับเสนาบดีชั้นสูง
The highest of the sompak boom is the one that has the complete patterns and structure of the fabric, consisting of the central field in the middle and the side borders along the length of the fabric, and the ended borders starting from 1 row to 3 rows of ended borders. This ท่านพูดเรื่องสีด้วยป่ะ
ครับสำหรับองค์ประกอบบนผืนผ้าทั้งสีแบบนี้เป็นการพระราชทานให้ตามบรรดาศักดิ์ของขุนนางแต่ละคนส่วนลวดลายที่เปลี่ยนแปลงไปกลางท้องผ้านั้นคิดว่าพระราชทานตามจำนวนศักดินา
The pattern in the central field is quite important because it signifies the level or ranks of the officials, starting from the plain solid color consisting of 5 colors from red, indigo, yellow, green, and purple, and also the mute color, the white. And the highest level of this type of sompak boom is the one with the Naga pattern in the central field.
ครับนี่คือลำดับทำเนียบขุนนางไทยนะครับก็สัมพันธ์กันกับรูปแบบของผ้าสมปักปูมทั้ง4ชนิดก็คือระดับล่างซึ่งประกอบด้วยขุนที่จริงแล้วจะมีระดับล่างลงไปอีกคือหมื่นผ้า